story of Paul and Barnabas. Once they were praying, a prophetic word came from God. Separate me, Paul and Barnabas, for the work to which I have called them. That is to say, this selection, it was God himself that did the selection. Separate me, Barnabas and Paul. But guess what? A misunderstanding arose much later between Paul and Barnabas. And they went their separate ways. But you know what? Apostle Paul went on to become about the greatest apostle of the New Testament, writing about 2/3 of the New Testament. And then Barnabas, though he did not achieve the same feat as Apostle Paul in terms of writing epistles, Barnabas groomed a guy they called John Mark, who was the reason the misunderstanding arose in the first place between him and Apostle Paul. Barnabas refused to give up on that John Mark. He groomed John Mark and made John Mark such a great minister that in Apostle Paul's later years, Apostle Paul now saw the utilitarian value of John Mark to his ministry. And Apostle Paul requested that the same John Mark he refused to join him and Barnabas for ministry work, that the same John Mark should come to him. He was requesting for John Mark. And in requesting for John Mark, Apostle Paul said of John Mark, for he is profitable to me in ministry. Now imagine that Barnabas became so attached to Paul because maybe Paul is the lawyer or was a lawyer, Paul was the orator. So Barnabas became so attached to Paul, and Barnabas said, okay, you know what? As Apostle Paul said, I will not allow us to go with John Mark. If John Mark will go with us, then we will not go together. And then Barnabas, because of his attachment to Apostle Paul, now says, okay, you know what? John Mark, go. I can't leave Apostle Paul. Barnabas would have failed in that assignment of grooming John Mark to a point where John Mark became relevant in the ministry value chain of the same Apostle Paul who refused to allow him to follow them in the first place. So, if you ask me, I will tell you that Barnabas fulfilled ministry and still indirectly fulfilled ministry with Apostle Paul, because the same John Mark that caused a misunderstanding between him and Paul, instead of throwing away John Mark, he groomed John Mark, and John Mark became a notable apostle that even wrote one of the Gospels, to the point that Apostle Paul now needed John Mark for his ministry. And since John Mark was a product of Barnabas, it invariably follows that Barnabas has also helped Paul to fulfill his ministry through his product, John Mark. Do you get the point? That's why if you are convinced about what God has told you to do, if you are persuaded about what God has told you to do, it doesn't matter how anointed any man of God is. Follow what God has given you conviction about. As a matter of fact, no matter how anointed any man of God is, whatever he says about your destiny should only be a confirmation of what God has told you or is telling you or will tell you. It should only be confirmatory. And that is it. No matter the status of that man of God.